My friends, I've researched over 180 different altcoins and uploaded videos or done live streams on all of them in 2023 alone. Not to mention, I've been in crypto since 2014, been profitable 9 years in a row. I've seen a lot, but just this year, video reviews on all of them. That's a ton of hours I've poured into altcoins. Also, I could find the very best investments for myself and then have that information to share with you. What I can tell you is that there's one very clear winner, and that the difference between the one winner and anything that might be second place is miles. There's nothing even close to this one winner. And I'm grateful I've got this to share with you today because I'm tired of y'all getting ripped off on crappy crypto investments. And all year, I've been thinking if I really know what I'm doing in crypto, I should be able to find a drastically undervalued altcoin and tell you about it. So I'm going to show you my research right here, answer questions live, and tell you why. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but ICP. This one is different from all the other ones. Internet computer is technology that is so far advanced beyond anything else in crypto. It blows my mind. And I found that because I actually used it. I used all kinds of these different cryptos. I downloaded all kinds of different wallets. You can look at all the cryptos I reviewed. If you want to go to see these reviews yourself, just search Jerry Banfield and any altcoin. Jerry, what do you think of VeChain? Well, just search Jerry Banfield, VeChain. I've done a review on that. And in some cases, I've done multiple reviews where once I hyped it up and then I criticized it. So on many of these crypto, I've done more than 200 individual altcoin reviews. You can look, there's hundreds of them on this channel. And then on my main channel here that I'm live streaming on, I've done like 60 something more on this channel. And what I've found is Internet Computer Protocol is the best because the technology allows you to build everything directly on chain. And some of the smartest people in the world, like Elon Musk, see that there's no value in an NFT if it's not hosted on chain. And some of the smartest crypto people in the world, like Brian Armstrong, are talking about how on-chain is the future and internet computers the only place you can build everything on chain. It has no competition, and if it does, please tell me so I can research it. Everything you all have told me that has any similarity to internet computer, I've looked at it, and it's terrible. And I did all this research. The best way to research is to buy the coin yourself and then trigger your confirmation bias intentionally. Almost nobody's done that this year. I bought like 50 different altcoins this year, then researched them with my confirmation bias in place. Confirmation bias means once you buy something and are holding it, you no longer are objective anymore because you're trying to pump your own bag. So I bought all these coins you all told me about, and I researched all of them. I figured out which ones that I'm holding are way better than anything else. And we're seeing something on Internet Computer that I've never seen before. Right now, it's doing 27,000 transactions a second. And these are huge transactions with tons of data. The normal 3,000 or 4,000 transactions a second is equal to 197,000 Ethereum transactions a second. But right now, the network is at the highest transactions I've ever seen it when looking at the dashboard. And this dashboard is available if you go to CoinMarketCap, click on Chain Explorers, and click dashboard. You'll see that the amount of data for this is incredible. And something nuts just happened on Internet Computer today. The Internet Computer up until today had 3.6 terabytes of data hosted directly on chain. And why that matters is when it's directly on chain, you can interact with it. Pictures, videos, code, and like you could build entire game worlds on it, biometric identities, metaverses. And I don't know if they're just testing. Kelly, thank you very much for the $5 super chat, Kelly. Really appreciate your support for having a one-on-one call with me on jerrybanfield.com, chatting in the Discord and everything. So I don't know what happened today, but according to the data, according to the data today, within the last couple hours, somebody just put 47 terabytes of data onto Internet Computer. That's a lot of data. I mean, that's crazy. So here's what makes Internet Computer special, is it costs so much less to put things on chain, and it's so much easier than putting chain on other stuff. For example, you could put 44 bytes of data on Ethereum for $1, 14 kilobytes on Solana, and for $1 you could put 1/4 of a gigabyte on Internet Computer. That is an exponential 10,000 times more efficient than Solana, which has been getting pumped, and that's much more than almost like 50 or something thousand times more efficient than Ethereum. But here's what's nuts. Somebody just put 47 terabytes all at once onto Internet Computer today. And if we do the math, even at Internet Computer's low cost, it costs $5 per gigabyte. So 5 times 47,000, which would be terabytes, somebody just dropped $235,000 worth of burned ICP cycles. So you got to burn ICP to get cycles and then use the cycles. Somebody just dropped $235,000 worth of computing power, which is cycles, and those are burned. Those are burned. What you get those by burning Internet Computer. According to this data, assuming it's correct, which this is pretty extreme, I hope it's correct, somebody just dropped $235,000 to stick this on chain for a year. That's a huge, some kind of a massive project or some kind of a test case. I don't know exactly, but that is a lot of data. 47 terabytes that just got dropped on chain. Oh, should I mention that that's 235,000 that you'd have to burn ICP to pay for that, which if you divide by today's price of ICP, that's $55,000 worth of ICP. That's 55,000 ICP you'd have to burn in order to pay for that computation. And if you wanted to put that same amount of data on Solana, just multiply by 10,000. So if you want to put that much data on Solana, it cost you $2.3 billion to put that much data on Solana. That's why Internet Computer is so much better than anything else. There's no technology where you could just dump 47 terabytes of data on it, and then that data is there and you can interact with it, you can process coins, you can serve it as web, you can run your entire application. Yes, I know you could dump 47 terabytes on Arweave, you could dump 47 terabytes on Filecoin. I've got 16 terabytes on Dropbox. But what you can't do is directly interact with it and build apps and serve web and process transactions and do all that directly on chain. That's right, baby. We're going for the underdog. I'm looking at seeing the biggest comeback ever in crypto for Internet Computer. And I was hesitant to get into Internet Computer for all the same reasons you all have. And this is educational material based on my experience. And one of the things that opened my eyes was the analytics. The sheer amount of transactions and computation this is doing is incredible. And right now, it is at all-time highs. All these numbers are the highest I've ever seen before. And it's incredible that the network can handle. Like, look at this spike in cycles per second. Whoever's put all this data on here, look at the transactions have spiked. I would love to know what's going on with this. But the transactions have spiked up from a few thousand a second, and they've just went up 5 times. And the network nervous system's even giving me a warning that there's a lot of network usage. This is expensive network usage, but there's nowhere else you can do this. And for full transparency, I have a bag of more than $10,000 of Internet Computer locked up for at least 8 years. And I've earned almost 40 ICP already by having this staked. Right now, I'm automatically staking it. So I'm getting a 16% in voting rewards on this right now. This is just amazing. Nice. Dragon says you just bought 100 ICP. This is my opinion, but this is also a ton of research. I would love to see anybody who's done more video reviews than I have this year, and that they've looked at coins honestly, and that they've got a lot of experience and proven success in crypto. I'm not sure. I don't know anybody who's done more altcoins than this. Dedicated reviews. I'm not talking spewing out 50 different coins in one video, which I've done. I'm talking dedicated, individual, honest video reviews, the good, bad, and the ugly. I've done hundreds of them this year. You all tell me about altcoins, I go look at it. I go see for myself. And what I notice is most of you in crypto are not doing thorough research. By doing thorough research, I mean you're not really going and using these projects. What I've noticed is that ICP, there's so many things you can do. On some of these others, there literally is just a token you can sit there and hold. Like, there's nothing else to do. There's a token you can sit there and hold. That's it. On ICP, you can vote on governance with your token. You can stake your token and earn yield. There's on-chain exchanges. There's social media networks. There's funding platforms. There's an automated launch pad on a network nervous system. And all of this is directly on-chain, which is amazing. ICP, if you think ICP is lame, you just haven't researched it. Because if you think ICP is lame, I'd hate to hear, or maybe I'd love to hear, what you think of the rest of crypto. This is the first real world computer we've ever had at scale. Ethereum is like an old school, PC desktop you might have, or Mac, like back in the 1990s. This is the next level world computer. Ethereum does hardly any computation on it compared to this. I mean, the amount of computation it's doing compared to Ethereum right now is hard to even believe. Why have the canisters dropped? Maybe they've changed how they've counted it. So maybe they changed how they counted the canisters, because if you look at the chart here, that hasn't, but right here, it's still the same. They could have consolidated. I don't know what's going on with the data today, but there's definitely a lot of transactions happening right now on ICP, which is exciting because ICP actually can become deflationary. There are days, in fact, given what I'm seeing today would be a severely deflationary day for Internet Computer to burn 55,000 ICP. Now, it doesn't look like, according to this, any new ICP was burned. So maybe somebody already burned the ICP for this. I don't even see where you could get all the cycles to do this computation right now. But the inflation is not ridiculous. You have never looked at it yourself if you think the inflation's ridiculous. It is not. Look at the total supply. You're literally quoting that from somewhere else, or you're looking at an incorrect dashboard. Look at the actual Explorer. Do the math for yourself. It is not ridiculous. Here's the math. I mean, you all constantly are spewing these inaccuracies that you've heard somebody else say who didn't even look at the actual Explorer. If you think the inflation's ridiculous, you are blatantly and obviously wrong. Go to CoinMarketCap, click on Chain Explorers, go to dashboard.internetcomputer.org, go look at the freaking circulation yourself. Scroll down here, count, it was 492, 491, we'll round down. 491, and we'll round up the opposite way. Look at this. So it's 509 divided by 491. I rounded up and down to make the number higher. 3.5%, 3.66%. And if you round up, it'd be 3.666%. That is the actual inflation. That is the actual difference in the supply from a year ago until today. Everybody who is looking on these other platforms is seeing how they changed the definition of the circulating supply, and foolishly or intentionally looking at it and drawing a conclusion that's not from the actual data. This is the real inflation, 3.6%. What they were talking about with some of the circulating supply is token unlocks. And most of the seed investors' tokens have been unlocked already. If you look at the unstaking, you can see this for yourself also. If you look in the neurons and see what's dissolving, there have been 80 million ICP, over 70 million ICP that have been unlocked in the last 2 years. And there's only 48 million more dissolving, while there's 200 million more not dissolving. So those numbers look great. And some of the same people who are not doing the calculations on the supply are then talking about these other altcoins with higher actual inflation than ICP has. This is why you've got to look stuff up yourself and double check it, because it's amazing how people will intentionally look at data that fits their narrative or be sloppy and not check the explorer on the actual chain itself, and instead just use something like some of these other explorers where they updated the circulating supply, and that's all that they have on there, which is definitely manipulative. If all you did was the circulating supply and you didn't consider the total supply, that's ridiculous. And if you didn't even check the official explorer on ICP, that is poor research. It's amazing how much poor research people are doing in crypto and then drawing conclusions. And I'm here to help you not miss out, because I've done much more thorough research. I've looked at so many of these altcoins. Some of them I've spent a lot of time, like Solana. I put a lot of time researching it, using it. Immutable X, Ethereum, Gods Unchained. I put a ton of time into researching and using those. It's so much better when you actually go get hands-on and do things yourself. Videos can inspire you to learn, but you should never just be buying information off of what you've seen in a video. You need to go put your hands on it. And by hands, I mean your phone, your computer. You should be actually using the crypto and see how it works, because then you can get visceral feelings and understanding of it that you can't get by just listening to somebody's video. And that's why I found Internet Computer. When so many people said it sucked, I actually tried using it. And I'm like, wow, there's so much you can do on this compared to everything else. It does so much. The technology is so much more advanced. And I got that because I actually used it, because I signed in with a wallet on Internet Computer. And that's something that an amazing amount of you won't even do. I bet right now, be bold and be honest in the chat. How many of you are holding a crypto that you've never used it off an exchange? That you've never actually taken it off an exchange and put it on a wallet and used it natively on the ecosystem? If you're operating that way, you don't know what you're really holding because you've never even used it. Come on. You need to get it off the exchange and actually play with it. If you are big into Solana, for example, I hope you're using a Solana wallet, and you should try buying some NFTs with it. Probably some cheap ones, but just test out how it works. See what you can do on the network. Get a feel of the technology by actually using it. And what you'll notice if you do this, almost all most cryptos do is transactions. Almost all the apps are just built on top of transactions. Almost all cryptos don't hardly do anything truly useful at all. They're nothing but hype and price speculation. And the only way I got past all the lies people were telling about Internet Computer is I tried it myself. I made a video about it, hyping it up just like I did a bunch of other cryptos, but then I actually went and used all the different cryptos. I went and staked Avalanche. I staked Solana on my ledger. I went and used the networks. I got a Hashpack wallet, tried staking on Hedera. I went on Cardano. I used a Cardano wallet. I staked it. I bought and exchanged some tokens on Cardano. I used all these different technologies. I played crypto games on Tezos, on Immutable X. I tried a bunch of these different networks and used them. And that's when I got to see ICP. This is special. There's nothing else like this when you actually go use them. And I see y'all saying I'm right in here. I know many of you are sitting here. You've never used some of these coins. All you're doing is buying them on speculative value. And that's how you get wrecked. Because most of these altcoins are just smoke and mirrors and marketing. There's like 1 or 2 developers that are working on them. And the technology is garbage. And it's all, if the marketing stops, the whole house of cards comes down. Whereas Internet Computer Protocol, the technologies, you could think of it more like Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't need a marketing team. It was new technology that we'd never seen before, and people got really hyped up and spread it through word of mouth. Internet Computer is spreading through word of mouth. People are using Internet Computer and being like, wow, this is different. Like, this is different. You can build a social media network on-chain, an exchange, fully on-chain, a token launchpad. There's so many things you can do on it. It's nuts. Yes, DJ LNR says ICP is the only one that has true DeFi. Yes, because you can do it all on chain. These other networks, you're doing stuff off chain, which means you're always at risk of getting ripped off by a hack or a hacker that gets into the centralized, back end or front end on the website, for example. Or you're always subject to the development team ripping you off in one way or another. Or, for example, I did a live stream today about Chainlink on my Crypto Reviews channel. Because Chainlink has recently pumped really hard. And I did a warning. Like, if you're holding Chainlink, you should realize Chainlink is a token. It gives you no ownership over the protocol. Imagine buying a stock that gave you no ownership over the company. Would you buy that kind of a stock? Or would you expect that if you're buying a stock, you'd have a part of ownership in the company? These tokens do not give you real ownership except on Internet Computer, where you can vote to do anything you want to with the token. You could vote to take the canister offline and remove it if you wanted to. Like, you could kill the project. If you had enough voting power, you could do that. That's why Internet Computer is different. When you have a token on there, it's amazing. And the narratives on Internet Computer are crazy. And I am happy to see Internet Computers went up 37% in the last month since I went off about it. At the same time, though, I've been trying to stack and fill my own bag up on Internet Computer. So you all have slowed me down in accumulating as well. What kind of information is that? ICP is run by scammers from the UK? You clearly know nothing. I've watched a ton of videos from the founder. Oh, or maybe you were just joking, because there are some cryptos that are run by scammers from the UK. You can, when you do your research and you look at the teams, one thing you can see with Internet Computer, I've never seen another team like this before on a project that has this small of a market cap. So for this kind of a team, you would expect like the market cap should be close to Ethereum. The skills on the team, the number of engineers on this team, the quality of people on the team, the depth of the team. So this is at definity.org, right on the homepage. The team behind this, I've never seen this deep of a team before in technical, engineering, programming, computer science staff. And Dominic, the founder, when you listen to him, you can tell he thinks differently. Dominic was one of the early people in the Ethereum community. He's not some, like some of these crypto founders are just marketing scammers that have came out of nowhere. And all they do is tell you their coin's going to 10x. And you listen to Dominic talk, you can tell he sees way further ahead than crypto and most do. Dominic's working on, with the Definity Foundation and all the incredible team of talent he's put together here, they're working on getting AI compute nodes directly on ICP. This is so much more advanced than Render, where you can put nodes and run them directly on an entire network. And guess what token you'd need for that? ICP. You can see when you actually look at these coins for yourself. And I'm encouraging you to really research everything you're holding. Use it. Learn every single thing you can do with it. One reason Ethereum has done so well is because there's so many things you can do with Ethereum. I was very positive earlier this year on Ethereum because you could play crypto games with Ethereum. You could buy Ethereum and then use Ethereum to buy cards on layer 2s in crypto games. You have so many DeFi applications that use Ethereum, although stablecoins have severely taken the edge off of Ethereum's value in that respect because a lot of these liquidity pools are in stablecoins. Well, one reason Ethereum has done so well is because there's so many different things you can do with it. What I see is the main flaw on almost every single crypto is there's very few things you can do with it. As I mentioned in my Chainlink review earlier, if you'll notice the top, and we're going to exclude stablecoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, XRP, Solana, Cardano, Dogecoin, Toncoin, Tron, all of these are layer 1s. All of the top cryptos here until you get to Chainlink are layer 1s. And the ones with the hugest market caps are layer 1s. If you're using a token is just does not have nearly as many uses as a layer 1 potentially has itself. Fake news, thank you for another $5 super chat. And thank you very much for the 10th super chat from Robert Nathan. Robert, I hope you're still here. I appreciate your patience with me and not even acknowledging your super chat for like 10 minutes. Thank you for your 10th super chat, Robert. What you'll find is that the more you research stuff yourself, the more you'll start to notice that the things that get pushed and hyped up in crypto often have almost no useful technology and have very few things you can do with a token. And then when you discover ICP, to me it just blows my mind, like, how is this so infrequently talked about at the highest levels? And yet all these other junk coins are constantly hyped up and talked about. And here's why. It's very easy to copy or fork a chain. You don't need $2 billion to copy a chain and call it your own. What a joke. And I called that scam out from the beginning. It's very easy comparatively, unless you're so sorry that, you know, people give you $2 billion. It takes you 2 freaking years to copy a chain. If you know what I mean. It's very relatively easy to do something like fork Bitcoin, or to fork Ethereum, or to copy a chain, or to copy a business model, and then call that your own. You could just do that with a team of 3 to 5 people. 3 to 5 people can get together if you got one business person who can do the marketing, and you got one developer who can get into the technical stuff, and then you have one operations manager who can essentially help the business person and the developer and work together and get it all out there. Really, with a team, a team of 3 people can make a crypto and print money faster than the governments. That's why there's so many cryptos, because it's very easy to just copy a junk coin, start marketing it, and naive crypto investors start plowing money into it. And then when you use that money to pay a bunch of other people to do even more marketing for your copied junk coin, then guess what? Then now you've got even more money. You can just keep paying and paying. It's very cheap to copy make some crap crypto and get it out there and market it. And because people don't do their research and really look at the technical capabilities of what they're investing in, then you've got this leaderboard full of trash cans that the technology's not exciting. In many cases, they don't even hardly have anybody using it. And the reality is, if you go to build on it, it's harder and more expensive than building a Web 2 app. This is why some of the biggest games in crypto, or that we're looking to build on crypto, have decided to just not even use crypto, because it's so much easier to just build a Web 2 game and take fiat payments from people on credit cards than it is to try and integrate blockchain into it. Yeah, I'm glad you know who I mean. So here's the thing. Even some of the smartest people in the world, like Elon Musk, have not found ICP. Because right now, ICP is a needle in the haystack. This leaderboard is filled with trash cans. It's filled with networks that are nothing more than marketing and hype and speculation. They're nothing more than money machines that have tricked investors into putting into them, that have tricked people into their stupid debit card. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and say that. And then their dumb debit card ripped a bunch of people off on that one. And there's like no value behind the coin itself, though, except tricking people to buy into a debit card that has crappy rewards and that they manipulate and change the rewards on you after everybody put into it. And many of these are nothing more than online gambling platforms, meme coins, which are just totally gambling and speculative with nothing underneath them. You do have Solana's technology is good. It can do a lot of transactions, but it's not great when you compare it to Internet Computer. And that once more people discover Internet Computer, see, it's hard to discover Internet Computer. And the people who are making all these junk coins and are most dishonest, like the people at FTX, they intentionally did this to manipulate the price to keep most people out. I mean, when you look at a crypto and see it's down 99%, the average person just figures it must be dead, and they shouldn't even look further than the price chart. And you'd think, okay, well, that makes sense for normal people, but what about experienced crypto investors who've been in this a long time and done a lot of research? Even they get tricked by the price chart and then make statements like it's a rug pull and it's a scam, and they don't even check the data themselves. Once we get a few more of the smartest people in crypto and with big investors, once they look at the data, and it takes a while to understand. I found ICP in February 2023. It took me 8 months to really get it. So there are some people who probably just found it through my videos or through your posts on X or videos other people have made. It may take some of them, like maybe Elon Musk saw ICP before, but he didn't look at it and realize what it could do. And I made a video the other day seeing if we could get a hold of Elon Musk on X and tell him about it. Thank you to all of you who shared that. Maybe he'll see it. Maybe 5 months from now, Elon Musk realizes, oh, this is the blockchain I've been looking for. So when you've got people, I'm not the only one looking through all these coins and trying to figure out, all right, which is most statistically we can be certain the very most of these are garbage. I mean, statistically, if you look what's happened in the past, go back, I'll show you the data so you can, if you haven't seen it before, you can get a better idea of this yourself. And I appreciate all the haters and critics, because you know I'm visible because there's so many haters and critics. I'm a hater and a critic too, except, I mean, I see other people streaming on YouTube, and I want to go into their stream and just call them an absolute moron who's misleading other morons onto absolute junk coins that they clearly don't understand compared to the rest of the market. And I just don't, because I'm not going to, my time is valuable, and I'm not going to help somebody's live stream or help somebody's video get ranked higher by putting my time and energy into someone who clearly is, you know, anyone can get a bunch of fools to follow them. It is more difficult to get people who really know what's going on to follow you. So, and that's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming to get some of the people who are like, wow, this dude found ICP out of all these cryptos. That's pretty nice. Here's what you need to see in crypto. So let's go back 4 years ago. Yes, the prices went up 30-something% at least since I started doing my videos. But to be fair, so has the Bitcoin price, and I wasn't talking about Bitcoin. Let's go 4 years ago. If we go back 4 years ago, let's look at the historical snapshot. And here's what I want you to see. Look at this is the top 4 years ago. And this is what most of you aren't doing in crypto that I hope you'll do. My videos are educational, and I want to give you a real education, because most people are just giving you useless data and crap that doesn't really help. So look at the leaderboard 4 years ago. Bitcoin was at the top. And right now it's about a 3.5x from today. Ethereum was second, and Ethereum is a 10x from today. XRP has had piss poor performance and is barely up, more 2.5x from today. It's done worse than Bitcoin. And that's the top three. XRP is probably my least favorite crypto. The technology is so junky, the user adoption data is horrible, and yet people mindlessly shill it. And if you actually watch their videos and try and use XRP, this stuff is, and try and look at their, it's all fluff. And that's the top three. So now go down from here. Number 4, Bitcoin trash, $292, 4 years ago. It was right after XRP. XRP has sunk in the leaderboard since then. Where's Bitcoin Cash today? Look at this. The price for Bitcoin Cash 4 years ago was higher than today. Litecoin, $58. Litecoin today, up 50%. You would have done much better to just get Bitcoin or Ethereum. And Binance has far outperformed the crowd. I have a bad vibe about Binance. To me, it looks like Binance has done a lot of criminal behavior, done all kinds of shady things to manipulate prices. It's like FTX, but they haven't got caught yet. That's my opinion. I have no proof to back that up. And I attribute a lot of that to the rise of their coin, but also people have chosen to adopt it. That said, Binance has performed about as good as Ethereum. And it shot up in here. Look at this trash can. $3.28 for EOS. I said this was absolute crap and everyone getting into the ICO was getting ripped off. And well, looks like I was right about that. Where is EOS at? Oh, look, it's down to number 60. 70 cents 4 years later. I told you so. People hated on me so hard for ripping EOS. I was absolutely correct. Bitcoin SV getting delisted from whatever that is, Coinbase. Where's Bitcoin's SV? $49 4 years ago, $129. Now, Tron has actually done pretty good, keeping up with Bitcoin, not as good as Ethereum. But I think you're getting my point. Now, Cardano's had a pretty good run, and it's shot up from 4 cents, but it's barely kept up with Ethereum also. So in most cases, you could have just bought Ethereum 4 years ago and done better than the vast majority of stuff in the top 100. Now, there are a few limited exceptions. So if you'd bought Chainlink, I mean, even Chainlink, though, it was $2.267. And today it's risen in the market cap, but again, it did not keep up with Ethereum. If it had kept up with Ethereum, it'd be $26 today instead of $14. Are you seeing a pattern? Dash, after I'd hyped it all up, $71. That's lower today, I believe. And do you even recognize a lot of these other crap coins? Look, there's Terra Luna, 46 cents today. What's that crap hole down to? Are you seeing a pattern? It's 40. So that's the new Luna. Look at the Terra Classics went to like absolute zero. If you don't find the technology that's an absolute game changer, if you don't find the one crypto in the top 100 that is best positioned to do extremely well because of a massive amount of possible use cases, if you don't find that crypto, at least in the last cycle, you'd have been better off just stacking some Bitcoin and Ethereum and relaxing. Hey, Into the Cosmos, Gods Unchained, my favorite. You want Gods back? I used to give away Gods Unchained every time I won. This is the thing. When more people, internet computer is so obvious right now because the technology is so vastly superior. And people like Cathie Wood, Elon Musk, maybe Larry Fink, they're looking, especially once Bitcoin keeps pumping, everybody's looking, and Ethereum, people are looking for the next Bitcoin and Ethereum. And while, yes, many people are going to choose wrongly, what I can say is the technology is what really stands out for internet computer. And when the price chart turns, I mean, look at this price chart. Now, if you don't look at the rest of the price chart, this is the kind of chart people like to buy on. Internet Computer 294, I was stacking it heavily. It's up to 426. The more the price chart turns for Internet Computer, the more people are going to take a second look at it. Because, yeah, sure, people will look at it and be like, ah, it's down 99%, it's total rug pull. But if you just go look at, like, the last month, you know, this is much more interesting now. And this is with hardly anybody really even understanding it. What's up, Tavo? Roger, nice to see you today. Explain to me why XRP will crush Internet Computer and use data to do that. Please use data, because what almost none of you who like XRP, watch this. This is how you do your own research. So many of you have asked, how do I do my own research? Let me show you how to do your own research. First, XRP has over $30 billion that insiders are holding, and they can dump at any time. This has been one reason for the seriously negative price action. Now, here's what almost nobody does. I would love for you to tell me, if you're holding XRP, have you ever done what I'm about to show you? This is a first step. Watch this. So we go XRP, Chain Explorer, and we're gonna go look at the actual XRP ledger and see how many people are using it. I mean, this is big brain stuff right here. How many people are actually using XRP? First off, the average ledger interval is 3.7 seconds. The average transaction fee is decent, but Internet Computer and Solana both far outperform the XRP ledger. This is the Explorer. Okay, you can see some transactions. Let's click on Network. Okay, can we actually get some data about who's using the ledger? Let's look at xrpl.org. Nope, this is annoying. What we have not been able to see is how many actual transactions are there on this compared to what there used to be. So we're going to go back over to Chain Explorers. We're going to click on xrpscan.com and see if somebody will show us the historical data. Because what almost nobody looks at is the historical data. And the historical data is, that's what you need to see. Look at this, just this data today. 1,500 accounts created today. And I'm just thinking, for as big of a market cap, only 1,500 accounts created? That's pretty bad. Metrics? All right, now, here's what almost nobody holding XRP has ever done before. And when I was holding XRP, this is why I decided to unload it. So, let's scroll back. Let's scroll back for the entire history of transactions on XRP. Now, if this is going to be as big as all the XRP pumpers say, you'd see some clear evidence of that in user growth. By comparison, look at some of the Internet Computer metrics. Canisters constantly going up. Transactions highest spike we've ever seen today, at least any kind of recently. You know, the data on Internet Computer is just going up and up and up. The usage, the transactions, the search traffic. All right, so let's look at this. Now, this is when I realized XRP sucks so bad and nobody looks at the data. Here, let's go back to 2019. We're going to go back to 4 years ago. And there was a temporary little spike here. So we're going to disregard unusual events. So we're going to go on an average day. So here we go. About 4 years ago, because these spikes are temporary and come back down. So the average transactions on XRP, 800,000. Let's call it 800,000. 900,000. Average transactions, 800,000 a day. Now, are you ready to travel in time? 4 years into the future. The average transactions are exactly the same. There has been no real growth in the XRP ledger in 4 years. Now tell me that this is worth $35 billion, not fully diluted. It hasn't grown in 4 years. Just look at the transactions. There have been some temporary spikes here and there, for sure, but the average, the transactions on just regular days have not grown in 4 years, but it's even worse. So let's compare 2019. If this is what people are saying it should be growing rapidly. But people are not looking at this, and they're shilling it over and over, and they've never once checked the freaking data. Welcome to crypto. So let's go back 4 years before that. So back here, in 2015, I was in crypto. Were you in back then? I was. In 2015, the transactions on the ledger grew from 200 and some thousand a day to 800 and some thousand a day. So from 2015 to 2019, the transactions grew 4x, which that's pretty good, but you got to also look how much the token itself spiked in that time. So if you look at the price of the token in 2015 was less than 1 cent, and if you look 2019, the price of the token went up 45 times or so. So the ledger, and this is crypto. In 4 years, the actual average transactions on XRP grew by 4 times. The price of the token went up 20 or 30 times. Now, in the last 4 years, the average transactions have had tiny growth. Yes, if you account for some of these outlier days and put that into the average, maybe the average transactions up from 4 years ago or up 30 or 40%. That's the data. And the price is actually up more than the transactions are up. So this is what people are not doing. Do you think 30% growth, generously if you include outlier days, do you think 30% growth in 4 years when the previous 4 years it only grew 4x? XRP sucks if you look at the data, which almost nobody does. Koasami Girl. Did I get that close to right? Thank you for the 200 Thai Bat. I believe that's Thai Bat, THB. Let me check that. Thai, yes, thank you for the 200 Thai Bat today. Am I getting that right? Sami Girl? ICP rocks. Will the tokens on the launchpad be traded on Coinbase? They are working on getting that integrated and set up in the future. So right now we only have one ICP coin that's actually being traded on an exchange, and that's Origin, which is a really good sign, because one reason Internet Computer's price is lower is because most of the coins are not even being traded on exchanges. But here's another data point. All these coins on Internet Computer, at least on the SNS, did not exist a year ago. Internet Computer has spawned a market cap of more than $70 million. Actually, if you include these, over $100 million if you include Origin. Origin is traded on MEXC right now, and many of these other ones will be traded on some other centralized exchanges as well. In the last year, you've seen over $100 million in new coins launch on Internet Computer, and only one of them is on a centralized exchange. Only one of them has listed on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. The rest of these have built their market cap just off the Internet Computer community alone. And I've looked at a lot of these other cryptos. That is very strong user data. Now, if you look at some of these things like DeFi Llama, for example, they're not reporting any of that stuff. They're not reporting that as total value locked on ICP. And this is why you need to do real research. Because if you just look at DeFi Llama, and this is a lot of crypto creators like me, they rely on these centralized tools that aggregate a bunch of different stuff together, but ICP works differently, and they're reporting the total value locked on here as 3 million. When if you look at the total value locked in all the tokens, the way it will be counted somewhere else, there's hundreds of millions of value that just has been locked this year, not to mention all the staking. I'm amazed if you don't like what I'm saying, you keep coming back. I'm guessing some part of you does like what I'm saying, and the rest of you is afraid to hear it. So Thanks for coming back if you don't like it. I think that's funny that you're spending a day in a place that you don't enjoy being. That's hilarious to me. ICP is massive. And yes, it's not certain. There's definitely a chance that something goes wrong with ICP, something doesn't work out, a competitor comes out with something better. There's a chance, but I think it's very low because I've looked at every other thing you guys said was like ICP that's competitive. And how did I find out about ICP? You all told me on one of my live streams at the beginning of the year. You said, Jerry, you need to look at Internet Computer. It's different. And some have complained about the marketing for Internet Computer. But Internet Computer, what's most important that the foundation do, they need to do what the rest of us can't do. Most of the rest of us don't have 10 years of experience in C++ programming. Most of us haven't worked at Google, or most of us have not worked at IBM for 12 years. Most of us have not been a staff engineer at Google. Most of us don't have PhDs in engineering and computer science. If you're investing in a crypto, the team needs to do stuff that you can't do. Now, maybe if you can't do marketing, they should do that. But the main form of marketing that is truly successful is word of mouth marketing. And Internet Computer is going to wreck on word of mouth marketing. And the one reason it has not went off yet as much is because a lot of the marketing in crypto at the highest levels is just paid shills. And it's people chasing views off the other people got from a paid shill. And it's people just repeating what they've heard other people say without doing their own research. If you want to make things even worse, for example, on YouTube, I've been on YouTube for 12 years. I believe that there are certain cryptos that there are networks of bots that are pushing their videos. Especially a bunch of these garbage coins that have useless technology that's just copied from something else. It looks like there are organized groups of criminals working together that employ armies of bots. What they do, they buy into some of these crappy little coins, and then they use armies of bots on social media like YouTube and Twitter, X, and all the other ones, and they use their armies of bots to push content on these junk coins after they've bought them. And they push until they think they've reached the top of where it can go. Then they dump their bags, and everyone who got suckered into those junk coins gets wrecked. And this is why you've got to look stuff, use stuff yourself, and learn how to tell the difference between like Definity behind Internet Computer. The employees have 250 plus patents. The team here, I mean, Dominic Williams, the founder of Definity, he gave a great tip on how to do your own crypto research. Go check the team. And if the team is a majority or a significant portion of business and marketing professionals, operations people, that means they don't have much talent or money going into engineering, which means they don't have much of a real product. They're not generally developing something that's that useful. Internet Computer is so revolutionary because look at the people they have working on the technology. You and I can go post on X, make YouTube videos talking about the technology through and you can tell people through word of mouth. I have a friend that I was suggesting he buy Bitcoin. He said, Jerry, I've got this money that I want to have some kind of a hedge against inflation. I want to have some kind of money that's off the main grid. And what do you recommend? Well, I originally had him buy DCA into Bitcoin. But once I found Internet Computer, I said, you need to buy Internet Computer. He already has some Bitcoin. And I'm like, buy Internet Computer because there's no way, there's very low likelihood that Bitcoin goes up more than Internet Computer during this next cycle because Internet Computer's valued at less than a 300th of what Bitcoin is. You need a lot more money, even ETF money. Yes, Parify, thank you for the $10 super chat. If you missed ETH, ICP is your second chance. I just want you all to be in a position to see this stuff ahead of time. Because almost nobody sees ICP for what it is right now. But they will. Just like I was saying with Bitcoin. Almost nobody was seeing Bitcoin back in 2014 when I found it. But now look at them. Look at them. The same people who didn't even know about Bitcoin when I found it. Then 3 years after I found it, they say it sucks and it's just for these nefarious uses. Look at them now. Larry Fink, a champion of Bitcoin because he sees huge profit potential for himself and his investors by buying into Bitcoin. And it took Larry 7-8 years from when I found Bitcoin for him to agree with me. Maybe it'll take 7 or 8 years for some of the people that are on the stream today talking about how I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe it'll take 7 or 8 years before some of them are, oh yeah, you were really right about internet computer. That's one possible future. Yes, the ICP dashboard, something crazy has happened with ICP today. I don't know, like this, there's so much, the transactions have blown up. So a couple of theories for what's happened to ICP today. According to this, there's been 47 terabytes added to canisters on ICP. It seems like that's a bit much. Maybe they put that on for chain key Ethereum or something. I would imagine you wouldn't need 47 terabytes to run chain key Ethereum. Something significant has happened today on Internet Computer. All of the numbers have shot up to absolute record levels. The network nervous system is running at the highest level I've ever seen it. The cycle burn rate and the transactions per second have just skyrocketed. I don't know what's going on, but something interesting just happened on Internet Computer. It was just running right along, and then you have record transaction levels, huge amounts. 47 terabytes were just dropped onto Internet Computer. I'm not even sure how you could do that. Thank you, Less is More, for the request on the crypto to review. I do keep a list of all the cryptos you would like me to review. And then on my crypto reviews channel, I've reviewed over 180 cryptos on video this year. Both because I want to know about them too, and because I want you to have the benefit of my research. So if you want to see all my crypto reviews right now, all I'm talking is ICP on this main channel. And then I'm doing crypto reviews on the second channel. So I am going to go over some of the main ones first, but any you want me to add to the list, I'll be happy to put those on there. So I added GST on there. I think I've got ACH on there already. I've got a lot of coins I'm way behind. I'm way behind on the ones you want me to review because I can only do one a day on there. And could this be Hong Kong or Dubai coming on board? I don't know. A glitch, it's possible it could be a glitch, but if it was a glitch, that's a lot of transactions a second for a glitch. If you were going to run a major app or a major, some huge thing on Internet Computer, you would need to put it all on chain first and get it ready to run. So maybe there's some app or something we don't know about that's been building on Internet Computer that just loaded everything on there. Maybe Dfinity is stress testing the network to see how much computation it can handle. I don't know, but something interesting is happening on there today. JC Des, do you know if Elon Musk saw your video from yesterday? I don't know, but I am proud of all of you who've been trying to reach Elon Musk with your tweets as well. There were a lot of you who retweeted, 73 of you reposted my video here. Many of you wrote your own comments to Elon Musk. So we are the marketing for Internet Computer. And I invite everyone to be patient too. One of the big problems I've had is I've consistently found things very early in technology. Like I was one of the first people in the world to live stream video games on Facebook. And I had a little problem of impatience. I was the very one of, if not the very first popular Facebook gaming streamer. The day they made it so you could live stream on Facebook, I was live. I was playing zombies. I had hundreds of people watching, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of impressions on my post. And I quit streaming on Facebook twice, and the third time I came back to streaming gaming on Facebook, I was one of the most popular creators in the world. This cup I have, I won a contest out of the biggest, I was one of the top 20 streamers in terms of followers and engagement on the entire platform. So what I've noticed is sometimes when you find something way, way in advance, it's kind of a curse because you can get impatient. So I'm encouraging you to be patient. Internet Computer, if, based on our own word of mouth marketing, it may have one of the very best bull runs up in the next year. But there's probably going to be a lot of junk coins that have bull runs too because people don't know any better. But the more people get experienced in crypto, the more people get ripped off in crypto, the more people will do their own research thoroughly and not just watch a video. And including me, you should not just buy Internet Computer off watching my videos. In no case should you just buy it just because you've been watching my videos. You should use it yourself. Try it. Look at the apps. And you should compare it to other things. You should have an experience you can personally and viscerally feel. France, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. It's going fantastic today. Yes, Vincent says ICP goes up so slowly, we should have a major run soon. I hope I get to stack some more before that happens. And that may be selfish, but I want to have my bag full of ICP before it goes off. But I'm not going to stop talking about it. Because to me, it's the best thing I've seen in crypto since I found Ethereum under $10. Again, I didn't have the patience or the foresight. I've matured a lot since I found Ethereum. I've got the patience now. I identified this Ethereum is going to be a big deal. I had hundreds of Ethereum. Hundreds of Ethereum I bought under $10. And I took my profits quickly on it and sold it because I did not take the time to think about how big it could get. And that maybe if I just held these hundreds of Ethereum one day, I'd have hundreds of thousands of dollars. What I love about Internet Computer is, as a person who likes to, I'm an action taker. So there's some of you that are you struggle with procrastination. Like you'll see, some of you have been watching every day. You've been watching every day and you haven't bought ICP yet because you keep thinking, I'll get around to it. Some of you have even tried using ICP and, you're just procrastinating. Like, maybe I'll do that later. Others of you watch one video and convert your whole portfolio into it. And that's kind of how I work. But that's a bit too fast. I took 8 months between when I bought $50 of ICP and when I put my whole portfolio into it. I took 8 months from when I found it and I started using it and I played with it and I used a bunch of other cryptos. After 8 months, I decided to go all in on it after comparing to a bunch of other cryptos. And still, I know, though, that I, in the past, have exhibited the tendency to be impulsive, which is why I've locked up all my Internet Computer for 8 years. Because I realize I might wake up and have a day where I think Internet Computer sucks. I'm totally wrong about it. I'm an idiot for thinking it's going to be this great. And in the past, I've sold. Like, I had a day like that with Ethereum. I had a day like that with Ethereum where I woke up. I had found Ethereum. I had dumped my money into it. I saw it was going to be huge. And one day I woke up and I was up 50% on my Ethereum. And I'm like, this sucks. It's not going anywhere. Other altcoins are going to move faster. I was all wrong about it. And I dumped all my Ethereum that day. I took profits and felt smart for a while. So I've locked my Internet Computer up for 8 years so I can't screw myself over. And many of you that are trying to time the bull market, I think this bull market for Internet Computer, well, some things have a better bull market, initially than they do later. But other stuff, really, they age better over time. So if you look at Ethereum, yes, it hit a higher US dollar price than it did in Bitcoin. If you look at Ethereum, though, its first bull market, just in terms of US dollars, it went much higher in its second one. So this is what I'm trying to get for Internet Computer. Because its first bull market, you know, I had Ethereum back here. When it was $9. I was stacking Ethereum right here. I'm like, man, it just dipped. This is going to be huge. And then I sold, where'd I sell? I sold like over here somewhere. I sold around here. I took my profits. All I needed to do, literally wait 1 year. Just wait 1 year. Look at that. The same Ethereum I sold, I would have got about 100x more if I'd have waited 1 more year. And that's why I locked my Internet Computer up, and then if I had just waited 4 more years from there, now you're talking multiple hundreds of X's. What's different though on Ethereum, since it was proof of work, you couldn't get anything for just holding Ethereum. But not so on Internet Computer, my friends. Internet Computer, you can get 16% staking your Ethereum every year. It will drop over time. It will drop over the next few years, but if you just leave it locked, you'll about keep up with it. So this to me is the sweetest thing. Okay, leverage on review channel, OX leverage, I'll add that to my requests. I don't get to, I put that on there. The ICP is amazing because compared to holding Bitcoin, you don't make money on Bitcoin unless the price goes up. What's awesome is, even if the Internet Computer Protocol price stays where it's at today, in a few years, I will get all my principal back, even if the price doesn't move, which I find unlikely. Of course, if the price goes down, the yield will become irrelevant. If the price of Ethereum does at least a 10x, though, I'm also going to get 160% of my principal in voting rewards, assuming the 10x is sustained for an average of a year. So if it does like 100x and goes down to like a 5x, but what's nuts about this, if Internet Computer is the next Ethereum, like I think it is because the technology is a generation ahead of everything else, then I'm going to have some sweet passive income for a long time. But that's not guaranteed. Bro B1141, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. The hardcore ICP believers will take the biggest profits. See, that's what's awesome. ICP has, right now, there's 249 million of the supply is locked. And anyone saying the tokenomics are junk, they've never looked at the circulation. The total supplies only went up by 3.5% in the last year. And there's 133 million ICP, which today is worth around $500 million of ICP that absolutely cannot sell sooner than 8 years. That means you've got 2 bull cycles of lockups guaranteed on 25% of the supply. And it looks like to me the majority of the supply by Definity is locked that they still have. They've sold a bit. It looks like the majority of their supply is locked for 8 years. And that means you have 49% of the total supply cannot be sold right now. And even right now, you only have, in the next 6 months, you can only 19 million ICP out of this will be unlocked in the next 6 months. So if we look at 249 divided by 19, I guess inverse that. So you're only going to have 7% of the total supply that unlocks in the next 6 months. And then over the next 6 to 12 months, a 7% of this that's locked, which will be 3% of the total supply. And then you'll have about another 5% that's unlocked in 6 to 12 months and another 5% that's unlocked in 1 to 2 years. So once we get through these unlock periods, the locks are crazy after that. Versus Ethereum, most Ethereum is liquid or could be unstaked quickly. Most Bitcoin is either liquid or it's been lost. And most of these other altcoins, like you can unstake your Solana and get that back within a week. The vast majorities of crypto do not have huge amounts locked up to prevent insiders and massive whales from selling. So on ICP, you only even have half the supply that can even technically be transacted at once. You've got the other half that's locked up, with a lot of it locked up for a long period of time. I lock my ICP up directly in the network nervous system, because if the network nervous system fails, the whole thing's going down. And that's one of the best and worst parts about ICP. Internet Computer Protocol is governed by the network nervous system. This is a single point of failure that if this goes down, the whole network goes down. This is also automatic governance. For example, I'll show you exactly how you vote on proposals right here. So you can go on a proposal like this. You can see who's voted on this already. They're adding 20 nodes to the data center, which seems like a good thing. Most people have voted yes, so I click adopt. This is automatic upgrading to the protocol. This is completely automated. In theory, this could run without Dfinity in the future, just completely off of stakeholders like me voting on proposals. Now, the technology is still very early, and Dfinity has a 20-year plan that we're only 2 years into. Right now, here's another proposal. I may need to read this one a bit more before I vote on it. So this one is to add or remove a node provider. This one, you're adding a new node provider. So I'm voting on proposals, and my vote is automatically being considered to upgrade the future of the network. This is the most advanced DAO in all of crypto. It's the most advanced DAO in all of crypto. You're automatically voting on the upgrades to the network, and when you do vote, then you get maturity, which can be turned into ICP at a rate of 95 to 105% of ICP, depending on how much other people are converting it. You can also automatically stake it to get your rewards back. ICP certainly could see $3 again, and I am anything under $10, I'm stacking as hard as I can. If it drops down to 3, I'm going to clean the bank accounts out and risk an overdraft, because yes, it could drop to 3. The more people understand how ICP is different, the harder it's going to be to drop, because I know there's a lot of you, I told you about ICP and you've really understood it at about $3. I know there's many of you that are waiting for it to drop to buy more. So that's one of the things that keeps the price going up. Is I mean, me personally, I stacked thousands more at about when it dipped. It dipped like right here or so, and I stacked another like several hundred ICP at this price. There's a bunch of us that want to stack more up anytime it dips. So that's something, and retail has been stacking ICP hard. I did a deep dive into the data behind that. It looks like the distribution on Internet Computer has as many or more retail users percentage-wise as anything does. So I think it's going to be hard for Internet Computer to go much below $3. Anything outside of temporarily without blatant and intentional price manipulation, which is definitely possible. That said, there's smaller supplies of Internet Computer in terms of the total amount of money relative to a lot of these other cryptos out there. Like Bitcoin, you got exchanges holding massive amounts. They can dump huge amounts of it at 3 a.m. and intentionally tank the price and kill off everybody who was longing it and rake in a bunch of profits, then put in a bunch of longs themselves and let it go back up. Internet Computer, anything under $10, I'm stacking. Once it goes over $10, I want to have my bag full. Because when I have the chance to buy for $3 and $4, I don't want to buy at $10. And I may keep DCAing in a little bit, but I'm loading as much as I can. And when it takes off, I want to have enough already. So how much is enough? Right now, I've got 2,500 Internet Computer locked for 8 years right now. And that is enough to give me about 1 ICP a day on average in voting rewards. And that's what I'm really looking for, is the passive income. So if you multiply 2,500 times 16.5%, I should get about 412 ICP in voting rewards a year, which is about 1 ICP a day. And if the price goes up a 20x from here, I mean, just multiply that out. Times 4 point, what is it? I don't know, was it 26? And then if it goes up like a 20x, I'm gonna get $96 a day in voting rewards. And that's just if it does a 20x. That looks pretty sweet to me. And I don't even have to touch the principal. That is awesome. Nice. Joe says, I hope you're right. I sold my link and increased my ICP to 7,500. What a bag, Joe. I have never been paid anything by Dfinity to market Internet Computer Protocol. I have never got any substantial thing outside of Super Chats. Some of you have dropped a lot of Super Chats, but to be fair, many of you who drop Super Chats on these videos would drop them on different cryptos or different videos as well. So I've never got any reward of substance for talking about Internet Computer Protocol that I wouldn't have got talking about some other altcoin, like things like Super Chats and stuff. In fact, talking about Internet Computer Protocol has cost me a lot of money. Tavo says, do you like any gaming coins? The last gaming coin I bought some of was SNS. I need to post in my Discord that I dumped that too. So I bought some of this SNS on here right before it did like a 50% up. But I decided to sell this into Internet Computer. But this is the top gaming coin on Internet Computer right now. I bought some of this. I really like the Gods Unchained game, but as I've seen from playing so I sold the SNS one because I see the importance of thoroughly doing your own research and thinking into the future. And from everything I've seen in crypto over the last several years, the lowest risk, highest return gains are if you can pick out something like Ethereum. So remember when I showed you those historical charts? I mean, this wasn't too hard. Picking out Internet Computers much more difficult than it was to pick out Ethereum in 2019. There's many of you, or many people who figured that out. So if you go back, like the easiest way to profit in crypto 4 years ago was to just load up some Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like that was the absolute lowest risk, easy returns. You'd be up 10x your money today on Ethereum, and you'd be up like 3.5x on your Bitcoin. And the ideal thing to do is to figure out what's this market's Ethereum. Well, why did Ethereum go up so much? One big reason Ethereum went up so much is because all these other coins launched on Ethereum, and so many people started using and building on Ethereum. Ethereum was the first smart contract platform, and it made a big breakthrough technologically. The real goal for Ethereum was to be a world computer. And that's how Ethereum got to be number 2. An Internet Computer is the real world computer. It is a whole generation ahead of Ethereum. If you're looking for an Ethereum killer, this is the Ethereum killer. This is doing 109, the equivalent to 100 and some thousand Ethereum transactions a second. This is a real world computer that you can host websites on, build entire dApps fully on chain. This is the original vision of what Ethereum could be. It's already a Bitcoin layer 2. Ethereum layer 2 is just around the corner, although Dom said it'd be ready in July. We got to test that up. It is functioning. So this to me looks like the equivalent of Ethereum in 2000 and perhaps even before 19, because Ethereum pumped significantly in 2017, 2018. This to me looks like the equivalent of finding Ethereum like I did in 2016. But the difference being, you can have the patience to hold on and lock in and get on for the ride if you want to. Do you think ICP can hit $1,000 one day? Absolutely. And the reason why, Amazon Web Services is valued in the trillions of dollars. If ICP was valued in the trillions of dollars, it would be around $2,000 per ICP. So my 2029 bull market target for Internet Computers well into the thousands. my kind of best case bull market scenario for 2025 is to hit around 1,000, 500, 700. I think ICP, as I said in my price prediction video yesterday, I think ICP could go back to close to all-time highs. The more the price goes up, the more everybody is going to think twice about ICP. So I think ICP could go back to all-time highs. In the best case scenario for this bull market, where people really figure it out, start building on it, I think ICP could go back to highs in this bull market. But if you want to watch more on my whole price predictions, go on my video yesterday. Because of all the voting rewards, ICP could also dump. It could have a huge top and then dump significantly because everybody will mint their voting rewards and sell those, which would give it a decent little inflation spike, but nothing more than what's normal in other cryptos. So I think this will have an epic kind of spike, and then it will come back down to reality. But where I see this going is what we've seen here. We got a consistently up green chart. I wouldn't be surprised if we're over $10 in a month or two, especially if the Bitcoin ETF gets approved and the whole market goes up generally. Then the chart will get even greener. And once you really, ICP is one of the only cryptos where, that picture of the guy like walking with the girl and then he's like whistling at the other girl walking by. ICP is one of the few cryptos I see that at the current market cap, this is a dump your whole bag for ICP kind of crypto. Most other cryptos don't inspire that kind of commitment. I bet many of you are holding a bag of different cryptos. How good would a crypto have to be for you to dump your whole bag into that one crypto? And I've looked at so many of them. It's ICP. So I hope I'm right about this. I have at least 90% confidence. My research is very accurate. I have about at least 10% error interval. Well, I've missed something critical, and for some reason, this isn't all going to work out. I am stacking as fast as I can. If the price tanks anything significantly below $4, especially if it gets close to $3, I'll scrape the bank account to stack more. And if it just keeps trending up, I'll keep DCAing in. I don't want to get so big of a bag and keep buying into a bag that is so big that I, get concerned. I don't want to buy, like if ICP kind of goes up to 10, it certainly could drift back to 5 from there, then go back up. Anything over 10, I would slow down my stacking. If I get over my dream number, I may mean it gets like 10,000 ICP, because when it hits $100, I'll be a millionaire. And to me, $100 is practically guaranteed for ICP in this next bull run. Anything below, if I can get at least 3,333, that would, once it is 333, I'll be a millionaire. So that's kind of my target. I'm stacking as aggressively as I can till I get about 1,000 more ICP. And then I may slow down after that. I don't want to buy it over $10 though, because I found it at, I've stacked up a bunch at $3, $4. I want to stack now and then watch it just go from there. So we'll see what happens. I reviewed Moon River. If you'd like to know. Oh, so final point I'll make here. Many of you have asked, if I got paid to tell you about ICP. Not only have I not got paid to tell you about ICP, ICP has ruined my business model in many ways. My previous crypto business model was to talk about all kinds of different altcoins and to hype them up, then to sell a course and one-on-one calls. Because in the middle of all the confusion and in the middle of all the videos, people would schedule a call with me and then share their portfolio and get my recommendations, or they assumed I was such an expert that I could be shilling all these different altcoins at once that I must know way more than they did, which that's accurate in most cases, but it's at the same time, if I really know what I'm doing, I can pick out the one huge winner when nobody else sees it. That's how you really know what you're doing. If you can make things utterly simple and obvious, that to me is genius. Anyone can complicate the heck out of stuff. Genius is to make things utterly simple and obvious. Utterly simple and obvious. I've actually wrecked my income doing this in the short term. Because on my website, I charge a couple $100 for an hour call. and I've got a Discord and a Patreon. When I was going on and on about all these other cryptos, there were tons of people coming through and scheduling calls, joining my Discord, because what people wanted to do was cut through all the crap. Like, okay, Jerry, you talked about, Zen and these 50 other coins on your channel. Which ones do you really like? And in many of those calls, I was saying, Internet Computer looks way better than a lot of the rest of these I talk about. And the more I did those calls, I realized, well, why am I telling these people that pay a few $100 to have a call with me that the one I really like better than the others that I'm holding and I'm pitching is Internet Computer? I'm like, I ought to just tell everybody that. So I've actually crashed my own business system doing this because, well, you don't need to schedule a one-on-one call with me for an hour when I've made it clear exactly how I feel, and I've made it clear exactly where my money is. Like, this is what almost nobody does. I have 10 grand in Internet Computer right here, locked up for 8 years. You don't need a one-on-one call to ask me what I like best. I've put it out there very obviously. So I'm actually making much less money. I mean, way less money. Thousands a month less than when I was shilling all these other altcoins. I have never been paid by ICP, and I have applied for a grant. They said it was approved, but they have not followed up and actually sent any payments. And I didn't even apply for that grant until after I'd been making videos for weeks and I dumped all my other altcoins. Somebody said, hey, they have grants you could apply for. I didn't even know that. I just was giving out the best information I could find. And the grant from ICP is only a few $1,000s. I've lost way more money, and I don't even know if it's going to, be fully come through or not. I haven't got anything, and it's not conditioned on what I'm doing right now either. I've lost probably at least $10,000 in income by doing all these videos on ICP. Because on many of my videos, I've gotten a lot less views, and I've gotten a lot less search traffic, and much of the search traffic was people coming through, finding me, and scheduling a one-on-one call and dropping a couple $100 to talk with me. And most of the calls have stopped now because there's no more mystery. I've shown you the goods right here. And some of you are joining and talking on Discord, but I was getting a lot more people joining on Discord because I was posting my transactions only on Discord and on Patreon. But now I'm just stacking ICP. You don't really need to see my transactions anymore because, well, I bought ICP. What do you think I'm doing? So I've lost tens of thousands of dollars in income that I would have got if I had just kept shilling all these different altcoins. And that's why I know for a fact that some of the crypto YouTubers you might watch, they've listened to what I've said and they've loaded up bags of ICP. But they're not shilling ICP on their channels relentlessly because they're trying to make the most money and get the most views. And constantly talking about ICP is not getting my channel to blow up. If I want my channel to blow up, I would, on every video, I'd talk about 100x altcoins and go look at all these stupid supposed gems out there, and I'd make it complicated for you. And then you'd have to pay me a couple $100 for me to help simplify it for you like people were doing before. I still have a call or two a week right now on average, but I was having calls almost every day, very consistently every other day, sometimes multiple calls a day. People were joining, an average of one person was joining my Discord off of Patreon every day. Some days, there were days like 5 or 6 people joined, my Patreon to get in. And I have lost a good amount of income doing this, talking about ICP relentlessly, which is why most people don't do it. So there you go. If you think I'm getting paid, here's what I'm telling you. I've lost money in the short term doing this strategy. But I don't really need money anyway. My wife makes 6 figures. I don't even need money. I can just ask her for some. And I've done that when I was playing Gods Unchained every day. I asked her for money so I could buy Gods Unchained cars. And I felt like a bit of a loser for doing that, but in the long term, if I give the most of you the best information as possible, if I am as useful as possible, I know things will work out very, very, very well for me. And that's what I've seen in 9 years in crypto, is a lot of the things you do to make money in the short term, those will sabotage you in the long term. And a lot of the stuff you do to really help people and be useful in the long term often means short-term sacrifice, like having kids. Massive joy to have kids. In the short term, it can be a real pain in the butt, as your entire life gets consumed with a baby. And then if you really want to double down, have more than one baby and say goodbye to the life you had before. In the short term, having kids really sucks in so many ways. But in the long term, it's wonderful having kids. So it's like I'm birthing y'all right now. I'm birthing a bunch of ICP babies. And I hope that there's a lot of you that are millionaires off of ICP in the future, because there's going to be some huge money made in ICP. And the question is, are you going to be a part of it? Or are you going to watch on the sidelines and be a critic? Now, that's not certain. That's just my opinion. That said, we'll see what happens. So I think it's time to wrap up, my friends. Thank you. JC says, I paid $300 for ICPs when I ICO'd. You've been buying it ever since, and your cost is down to $475. Nice. And that's what's amazing. That's what's amazing. The support that many of the community and ICP have had. Now, you have people like JC that have ridden this thing all the way down. I love a comeback story. I think ICP is going to be the biggest comeback in the history of crypto. So I'm really excited to see you, my friends. And I'm interested to see a year or two from now what the world looks like. And I'm interested to see 5-10 years from now what the world looks like. Yes, Kung Fu Classics, the issue is you put down a load of strong projects in favor of ICP. There's no mystique around your videos. And that's good. I want my message to be very clear. I do not want to make my message complicated just so I can profit off of it. Now, that's because I'm considerate of you. I was thinking about this while I was watering the lawn. If I didn't care about you, I could complicate things and trick you into helping me make a lot more money. But in doing so, I know, because I've done that before, the cost is that I feel bad. And no amount of money is worth me feeling bad. So unlike a lot of creators out there, I really care about you. Even though I've never met you, I wouldn't recognize you on the street. I care about you being wealthy in the future. And therefore, in caring about you, I'm very clear about exactly what I think, exactly why I think it. And I intend to leave no mystery about that. And if in the short term, I make tens of thousands of dollars less, oh well. I don't need it anyway. What I care about is my information useful? Is it clear? Is it helpful? What I've noticed is if I help you a lot now, you might actually go subscribe and watch my music videos. You might schedule a one-on-one call just to chat with me. Or you know what? You might have a great life and I'll never even know about it, but I'll feel good that I helped you do that. And to me, feeling good is feeling God and doing God's work. And that's what I'm here to do. So much love, my friends. Well, so I've looked, if something doesn't have real fundamentals and can't last the test of time, which almost none of these small coins can, then I'm not interested in it. Yeah, my wife does make 6 figures, and I've supported her. I do the laundry, I do the cleaning, the dishes. I put a lot less time into my work so that she can have more time for her work. In the past, it was the opposite. I was making 6 figures in my business, and she did like everything around the house. So we're a team. All right, much love. It's time to wrap up, my friends. Lisa, JC, Roger, Panda, Brandon, Yosef, Crypto, Kung Fu, Kelly, Eric, Dunclam, Crypto, CB, MG Video. Much love. I'll see y'all again soon.